Hi, everyone. I'm Ben Gonzalez. This is TDI. So, one of the things we always tell consumers is that to get the best deal on their insurance, they're going to have to shop from time to time. So, today we're going to give you some specifics about what you should think about when you're shopping for auto insurance. And joining us today is John Mooney from our property and casualty area. Hi, John. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Ben. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for doing this again. So, what everybody wants to get a good deal when they're shopping for insurance, but what are some things that you should look at besides the price?
Yeah, that's a great question. Just because it's cheaper doesn't mean it fits your needs as a consumer and owner of an automobile. The first thing to look at would be liability limits. The state requires a minimum of 30, 60, 25, which is $30,000 and $60,000 for bodily injury that you're responsible for in an accident. 30,000 is for the individual, 60 is for everybody injured in an accident. 25,000 is for the property damage. On the property damage side, 25,000 may not go very far, let alone repair one car, but you might be at fault for two or three vehicles in an accident. So the first thing to do would be to look for potential higher limits, especially if you have a lot of assets. If you own your own home, your personal wealth as well may need to be protected, and you may want to look at getting higher limits from that perspective. Another option is another area to look at is the type of coverage. You may not choose all the coverages, and therefore you're saving money, but you may need medical coverage if you're injured in the car or uninsured motorist coverage as well. So there's different things you need to look at just besides the price.
And when you're stepping up, speaking of price, if you're stepping up to a higher levels of a liability coverage, do those add a lot to the cost?
It depends. One area to start is the TDI, along with OPIC, Office of Public Insurance Counsel, has a free website called helpinsure.com. And you can do some comparison from different companies. You can also look at rates as well. It just going to depends. Sometimes if you do get higher limits, your rates may go, what they're going to charge you may go up. But it just all depends, and you would have to contact the individual company or speak to an agent for that company.
Well, we're already starting to get into a little bit of the terminology like liability. Let's go. Let's cover some of those basic things that people are going to hear when they're shopping for auto insurance. I know we're not going to get everything, but the most common ones: liability versus comp versus collision. What are some of those things?
Yeah, liability protects you or any drivers that you give permission to use your car. That's going to protect you if you're at fault in the accident. So that would take care of any property damage, whether it's another car that you hit, or say a mailbox, or hit somebody's home or a fence. And then also there's a bodily injury portion of it, which would be medical bills, pain and suffering, lost wages for somebody that's injured in an accident. That's the most common coverage that folks have. Next one would be comprehensive and collision. That takes care of the damage to your vehicle, whether you're at fault or not in the accident. Comprehensive is most common if your car is parked in your driveway with a hailstorm, if your car gets flooded, or if your windshield gets damaged and the vehicle's not moving. Collision coverage is when your car is involved in an accident, whether it's with one car by yourself if you back into a telephone pole, or you get rear-ended at a stoplight, or you rear-end somebody. The collision and comprehensive are going to take care of the damages to your car. The next biggest one would probably be uninsured motors, which is also lumped into underinsured motors coverage. And that would help you pay for your injuries and damage to your vehicle if the person driving doesn't have insurance, or if they don't have enough liability insurance. So that's another key insurance coverage to get that'll help you recover from an automobile accident.
So when we're talking about collision and comprehensive insurance, as your car kind of ages, you may have some decisions to make about those. Correct?
Yeah, that's one area to look at. If somebody's holding on to their vehicle longer because it's paid off and they don't want to have a car note, or if they're buying maybe a teenager an older car, and let's just say maybe it's a 2000 or 2005, and the car's 15, 20 years old, you may want to do some research or have a conversation about what are they going to charge for comprehensive and collision coverage. And then after you factor in a deductible, it may not be worth your time to carry that coverage. Comprehensive and collision are not mandated by the state. So that's up to you if you want to carry it or not. A lot of folks will go carry an underinsured motorist on and not carry comp and collision, because then if they're at an accident and they're not at fault, then they can have their vehicle repaired if the at fault party doesn't have enough insurance or doesn't have insurance. So you would just have to do some number crunching and see the premium that they're going to charge for the comp and collision on an older vehicle is worth it for you.
That's what a lot of this comes down to, is what can you afford to get back on the road on your own with the combination of insurance and your own ability to pay extra.
Yeah, that's each individual is going to have to sit down and determine what their needs are. Some don't may not see a need for comp and collision, but others may. They might want to get a lower deductible versus having a higher deductible. So it's just going to be what fits everybody's budget and what their needs are. Somebody that might have a 2000 pickup truck and they're out on a farm or a ranch, they might be able to sustain a little ding on the bumper if they back into a pole, just because of the needs of that truck. So it just varies from each individual's needs.
Well, one of the things we've seen a lot of attention on lately is mileage-based policies. But we've talked about those, and they're not right for everybody. So who should be looking at mileage-based policies?
Yeah, there's a lot out there on the market, and it can be overwhelming at times to try to figure out if it fits your need. But during these times of COVID-19 and a lot of folks working from home, your car may be sitting in your garage and maybe not be driven as much as it used to. Folks that live far out and aren't driving into the office anymore, there may be an opportunity there to go to a mileage-based premium. Some of the companies out there are offering it. You would have to call around or do a search to see who's offering it. And then again, going back to the number crunching, it may be worth your mile. You'd have to make sure you understand how it's set up, because some will give you some leeway if you do take a long vacation. If you're driving across the country, they may give you some free miles during a period of time. So it just varies on what the company is offering, and if it fits your needs, it may be worth your time to go with a policy like that, because it may be cheaper for you and offer the same coverage. So you have to see, make sure it's offering the same of what you have, and see if it fits your needs.
And even if you don't go to a full by the mile type policy, if you're not commuting like you used to, that's still worth a call to your agent to kind of let them know, hey, I'm not doing the same commuting that I used to. Correct?
Yeah, that's a great point. Is contact your agent or contact the company and let them know. They'll ask you questions on your application and on who's the primary driver of the vehicle, how many miles are you driving it per year, where are you driving it. Not all roads are created equal in the state of Texas. Rural driving may be a little sometimes safer than some city driving, or if your car is parked at home a lot of the times. So let your company know that you've changed, because now both cars in the household, both individuals are working from home and the car's not being driven as much. So that's some good information that you should contact your company and let it know, because it could potentially lower your rate that they're charging you.
You touched on deductibles in an earlier question, but let's talk a little bit more about that. Any other strategies for lowering costs right now?
Yeah, the most common that comes to mind is youthful drivers. So if you have a teenager in the household or potentially a college student,
I do.
Yeah, those that have them know how much your rates are going to go up when the teenager first gets their license. So contact your company and see if your son or daughter took a driver's ed course, they may give a discount for that. A lot of companies give discounts for good grades. So if your child has straight A's or maybe even A's and B's, they may give you a discount there as well. So there's some opportunities there for saving, especially when you add that youthful driver. Another common discount is multi-lines. A
Hmm.
lot of companies will give you a discount if you have your home, your auto, life insurance, maybe even a umbrella policy that goes over the home and auto. If you combine your 3, 4 different policies that you have, if you combine it with one company, they may give you a discount on each of those. So if you had 4 different types of insurance and you're insured with 4 different companies, if you combine it into one, you have an opportunity to save some money.
Okay, let's give one last piece of advice for auto shoppers.
Yeah, just you can. There's a lot of information out there, and it can be overwhelming. I'll just put a plug in again for helpinsure.com. Consumers can go there, look at. There's great information on the website as well. Another option we've talked about on previous broadcasts is contacting an independent agent and sitting down with an agent and explaining what your needs are, what are you looking for, and then that agent can assist in the process because it can be overwhelming at times, and you just need to try to understand what are you buying, because a lot of times just because something's cheaper, it may not be the best fit for you as a consumer.
That's perfect, John. Thanks. So, again, the website is a good resource for consumers. That's tdi.texas.gov. And if you have a specific question about your auto insurance, you can also call our helpline. That's 1 800 252 3439. So, for John Mooney, I'm Ben Gonzalez. This is TDI.